trying to kill like this Asian woman or man, and there was like a blade, but every time like the woman would jump up or something, and I really felt like it had to do with um sometimes when I am feeling a certain way, I don't know how to talk about it, I don't know how to express it. So God told me to go tell people how I felt and to ask for donations or just kind of those are actions to like open my heart. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video because um my heart is like feeling a little bit numb. So basically, um there was a guy that I liked before and he came back into my life and I thought like, okay, I can be friends with him. I can see him and all that. But then I feel like my heart is in the ER because I realized like, you know what? Like he's not the man that God has for me, but I still feel like a strong attraction towards him because I've known him. And I realized like, oh, I can't lie to myself and say, okay, I can keep talking to him knowing that he's not my husband. So some of you may be thinking, "Oh, how do you know he's not your husband?" Okay, well, I want someone who's Christian, obviously. I want someone who's spirit-filled and is called to ministry. And he's not, and he's not really in a position to be in a relationship, and I know that I just be lying to myself. And I started to feel like my heart was like it was like, "Okay, this kind of hurts, and I can't." It's like I can't lie to myself anymore, and it's really hard for me to talk about how I feel sometimes. Um, the connection is unstable. Okay. Sometimes it's really hard to talk about how I feel, but, um, gosh, I think I feel annoyed that, like, God brought him back into my life, and I it's like, okay, like, you wanna see someone and you wanna hang out with them, but the more you see them, the more hurt you feel because you feel like, "Okay, well, it's not supposed to last, it's not gonna last." So you're just like, "Okay, what's the point of hanging out with them and getting close to them when, like, your heart is literally like, well, I have to separate myself and I have to, move forward." And I realized at first I was like, "Yeah, I can be friends with people that I've liked or dated in the past," but it's not true. Like, I remember even with my ex, like, I had to block him in every aspect. Like, I had to block his number, I had to block him on I can't dredge up the past anymore. Like, if I want to move forward, if I want to meet my husband, like, I can't be like, you know, like, reminiscing the past. Like, I have to move forward, and that kinda sucks, I think. But it's like, well, why mess with anyone else when yes, here's how I feel. It has been almost agonizing, and sometimes I do feel lonely, and I feel oh gosh, I'm gonna cry. I can feel it. Um, I knew I needed to cry. Why do I always cry on YouTube? Um, it's like the weight has been really hard, and like God will send me different people to talk to, and that feels agonizing too because really great men, but just not the one. They're not the one, and so the process has been really hard, and it's kind of my heart is just like either really numb or it's like really emotional, and I'm like crying a lot lately, like in the last 5 months, crying like every freaking day almost. Um, God is just healing a lot of like heart wounds, and Um, Yesterday I was talking to God and I said how I was like mad at him because I felt like he could change. What God will have me open up is taking like steps of faith, like telling people how I feel, asking for donations, like being open to rejection, like just opening up my heart. And sometimes I want to close off and I don't want to talk and I don't want to process. I don't want to tell people how I feel and I don't want to tell God how I feel, but I feel frustrated with the process and I feel tired of it. And I'm also tired of like telling a guy, "Hey, you're not my husband because this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who is Christian, who's called to ministry. I'm looking for a spirit-filled guy." And my heart's just like, yeah, sometimes I just get like lonely too, I'm 32 and I've spent a lot of time alone, but I also spend time with people too, but it's like sometimes I see people who have been married when they're like 23. They found their spouse and they have a family. And I'm like, "Oh, I want a family," you know? So, it's like you can't deny what it is that you want, and sometimes I feel like I'm waiting on God for so long and I'm doing the best that I can. Like I'm putting my heart out there. I'm being vulnerable. I'm learning, but it's also so I actually I'm lying to myself, um, because you can have strong attractions for people and you like that person, right? Because they remind you of maybe your parents or whatever, or remind you of yourself. But if you just really look at the facts, like, hey, they're not wanting to be in a relationship and you don't either because like what you're looking for is not that, right? But you might still have feelings for that person. That's like so normal. But you can't like lie to yourself and to your heart and say, "Oh yeah, it's fine. We can just, you know, get to know each other more." That's a lie, man. That's a lie and it's your heart's going to be in ER because of it. My husband, like no, I have not found my husband. I have not met him and I've had to have really hard conversations in the last few days. And I realized, like, no, I can't lie to myself and say that I can be friends with people that I like. So, um, you have to move on and you have to, you know, be honest at all times, especially with your heart. So, anyways, that's all. Um, yeah, if you'd like to make a donation to this ministry, you can do that on my blog or on YouTube. On the front page, there's a PayPal. And anyways, I'm going back to sleep. All right. God bless. Bye.